Hello and welcome to WhoTube Gallifrey 02. In this video I'm going to be discussing what exactly is Doctor Who Canon and what should the Doctor Who fandom regard as official to the Doctor Who timeline. All that and more will be coming up in this video. My Doctor Who DVD collection. Is Captain Jack Harkness the face of both? So yes, over the years Doctor Who has had 800 episodes and has sparked spin-offs, audio adventures, comics, books, video games and much more. But in many of these expanded media things there has been a lot of continuity errors. So how does this link in to the actual Doctor Who timeline, and is it still regarded canon? Well, first of all, I want to say every single episode of Doctor Who is canon. Every spin-off episode, both being in the Sarah Jane Adventures, Torchwood, Class and K9 and Company, are all canon as well. K9, the Australian TV show, you could count that as canon if you want, but I personally don't count it as official canon. But it's okay to regard that as canon, as it doesn't really mess up the Doctor Who timeline if you do classify it as canon. So yeah, it is technically canon. And yeah, you can count Sherlock as canon as well, even because it doesn't mess up any of the Doctor Who timeline. So yeah, that could be canon if you want to, but that's a whole different video. So, is Big Finish canon? Well, yes, Big Finish is canon, as it is licensed under the BBC. The BBC gave Big Finish permission to make Doctor Who audios as well as Doctor Who spin-off audios. So yes, Big Finish is canon. Are the unofficial real-time and BBV Doctor Who fan films canon? Well, not really. However, some I do think are canon, as they do link in nicely with the Doctor Who timeline. However, in others, they do mess up the Doctor Who timeline, such as Probe, as that just messes up the Brigadier timeline and all that. So yeah, that's not canon, but other fan-made Doctor Who things are canon. However, they are not official BBC, they weren't made under the license of the BBC, so the way you look at it, they could be regarded as non-Doctor Who canon. Are the Doctor Who comics canon? Well, if they're under license by the BBC or made by Panini or Marvel, they are, technically speaking, canon. And are the books canon? Well, both the BBC books, the Virgin New Adventures and the Virgin Missing Adventures are canon, as Virgin did get permission from the BBC to do them. So yeah, pretty much everything has been made under license. But what explains all the continuity errors in Doctor Who? Take The Enemy of the World, for example, which is set in around 2017 or 2018, as there is a newspaper article which does say a year like 2017, so yeah, it's set around that time. But that episode has technology way beyond us, like people travel around in rockets all across the world, and is completely unrealistic if it will be made at this time, even though it's one of my favourite Doctor Who stories. So how is that canon? Is that still regarded as canon? As the pilot, that's set in 2017, that has technology way behind that. It's really primitive compared to the Enemy of the World technology. So how does it make sense? Well, before the Time War, in the whole of the classic era, the Doctor could travel to parallel worlds. And in stories such as The Enemy of the World and other stories which has technology in futuristic episodes way beyond the Doctor's timeline, well, way beyond the present day timeline, that's what I mean, they all take place in parallel worlds, as in Rise of the Cybermen, the Doctor did say that the Doctor could easily travel to parallel worlds before the Time Lords, as after Gallifrey disappeared, the time vortex really fell apart and the Doctor could no longer travel to parallel worlds. So yeah, that explains that. But now I'm going to explain something which I can't get my head around. What exactly happened to Ace? As in the DWM comic Ground Zero, Ace did die. However, in the Virgin New Adventures, Ace did live on Gallifrey and trained to be a Time Lord. So which of her fates are real? Well, technically speaking, both of her fates are real, but just take place in alternative timelines, such as Scream of the Shalka. That is actually Doctor Who, official Doctor Who canon, but takes place in an alternative timeline to the actual Doctor Who canon. So yeah, it's all Doctor Who canon, but some of it takes place in alternative timelines, parallel universes, and yeah, it's all very confusing. So yeah, the Doctor Who canon will continue to grow, and I think it has grown a bit too much, as there's loads of Big Finish audios and books which I want to get, but there is just too many of them to collect at the moment. So yeah, maybe they should wipe the slate clean like they did with Star Wars and just leave Doctor Who and its spin-offs as official canon, and yeah, just start again from scratch. So yeah, let's see what the BBC do about that. And yeah, the BBC really do need to start regarding Doctor Who as canon and looking for continuity errors, as continuity errors really annoy me in Doctor Who. And Doctor Who is one of those shows where people notice continuity errors. Like, it's 2018 next year, and in 2018, that's the year when the Power of Three was set in, as it was mentioned that it was 10 years after 2008 when the events of the 11th hour took place. So yeah, I am hoping to see a lot of cubes about in series 11 of Doctor Who. If not, it will not make sense. So yeah, that is the end of this video, and until the next time, goodbye. And yes, I just wanted to point out that the Peter Cushing movies are not canon whatsoever. They're just a bit of fun and just simply two movies which people can enjoy, and they don't take place in the Doctor Who timeline. And yeah, another thing, what happens with Doctor Who fan adventures, such as Jay's Doctor Who Reviews audio adventures and Zybelida 10's figure adventures, what about them? Well, you could say they take place in alternative timelines. You could say that. So yeah, again, goodbye.